Good afternoon, everybody. We're midway through startup day. I think what can tend to happen is we show up somewhere physically, but mentally our mind is someplace else. So I'd like to invite you just to take a couple breaths with me to allow ourselves to get back here. So if you have your phone, you can just put it down for a second or just finish your tweet, and just 3 deep breaths. Just breathing in and out. In and out. Last deep breath in and out. All right, so we're here. What are we going to talk about? Productivity, that's quite exciting. I've been at Google for 7 years, most recently running partnerships at Google for startups across Europe, Middle East, and Africa. The last 2 years, I've spent a lot of time working with startup founders as well as executives within Google, trying to answer the question, how do we live better lives? How do we become more effective? And I've learned a lot along the way. So I'm going to share with you some ideas, some tips that might be helpful for you. And I hate to say it, but I'm not an expert. I'm not perfect in any of these things. I'm not a superhuman. I don't think you guys have to be one either. I think we have a lot of misconceptions in our head about what it takes to be productive and effective and to crush it. And I want to dispel some of that and speak from my own experience. And so what I'm going to share is ideas and insights I've gathered from within Google, many backed by science and research, mixed with things that I've tried in my own life, my own experience. And what I hope to leave you with is not a one-size-fits-all magic bullet solution, but maybe just an idea, maybe one little mindset shift that you can take away with you. Try it on. There's really nothing better than trying this out in your own life. So that's my hope. And I think when we think about productivity, we think about it like this. We come into the office, just crush it. We don't even get up from the desk. We leave every day burning through to-do lists. Ask yourself, let's say that perfect productivity, perfect effectiveness is a 10. You're this guy. On the other end of the spectrum is this guy. And let's be real. We've all been there. I've been there. Been depressed, anxious, fed up, overwhelmed. And this is part of the journey. So imagine this is a 1. And then ask yourself, in the last month, on average, where do you find yourself? More the 1, 2, 3, more the 8, 9, 10? Just holding that. So what I think is important is we all live on this spectrum. It's impossible to operate at the 10 every day. But it is possible to move ourselves up gradually from having days that are 5, 6s, and 7s to 6s, 7s, and 8s. And recognizing that it's okay to have shit days. And it's great to have awesome days is a huge piece of rethinking how we can be more productive. And I've seen this a lot. I think we're very, very critical on ourselves. Just letting that go is a big piece. So what is productivity? It's the $1 billion question. There's thousands of blogs and podcasts, and everyone's got their own idea. I want to start with saying, for me, productivity is personal. I'm not going to give you the perfect definition. I think we have to think about it in our own lives and what makes sense. Productivity means something different. If you're raising a couple of kids, got a crazy life at home, than if you're, single and a solo founder. It just varies. But I think I love to put forth this definition. And what it starts with is not just doing more, and more. So we get lost in this idea that productivity means efficiency. How can I squeeze as much possible into these 2 hours? I'm gonna answer Slack and take a phone call and do my dishes and all of that at the same time. And we have these ideas of life hacks. How can I hack my way into it? But really, this is this quantity mindset. And I think real productivity is actually more about quality. It's about being effective. Real productivity is about getting important things done consistently. It's a definition from James Clear, big fan of it, because I think it puts two ideas on the table. It's about doing the important things, not everything. It can feel really productive to answer 100 emails in an hour, but is that the most useful usage of your time? And consistently, how do you maintain this? And that's what we talk about at Google. How do you sustain high performance over time? I think we need to forget about all of these hacks. I think there are great software tools that can help you be a bit more efficient here and there. This idea of crushing it and, all of this, and move more towards an idea that is less about short-term efficiency and more about long-term continual improvement. This is a graph that shows compound interest. How many of you are familiar with the idea of compound interest? How many of you are investing based on this idea? Yes, more people. Everyone else get on that. Simply put, if you're just 1% better every day this year, it'd be 37 times better by this day next year. Long-term productivity is built through really small steps. So that's why I need to forget about, I need to change my life drastically, but thinking about this is a huge mindset shift that can change how you approach day by day. 1% better every day. Here's the plan, 3 parts. First, become a mastermind, then we'll achieve Jedi focus, and finally, we're gonna energize and recover like a pro. We're gonna run through these 5 minutes each. What can we leave you with? Let's get started. Becoming a mastermind. 47% of the time, humans are lost in thought, which means when I put this slide up, roughly half of you were thinking about something else. I think it's probably this half over here. No offense. That's okay. Our mind naturally wanders. Having the mind, wanders, part of the creative process. Yes, that's where brainstorming is. The challenge is our mind is often wandering when it shouldn't be. When we're having an important one-to-one conversation, when we're reviewing the last quarter's financials, when we're meeting with investors, and we're sat there thinking, oh, I need to get eggs before I go home, or did I pick up milk? Oh, okay. That is difficult, because when our mind is wandering, we're lost in thought on this autopilot mode. We're living life in a very habitual pattern. When you're on autopilot, 2 things stand out. You're distracted. You're not focused. And more important is you're reactive. So a huge teaching at Google, and this is where this sort of mindfulness comes into play, is how do you move from being reactive, which usually ends quite badly. Someone says something, you react, to being responsive. How do you bring more agency and effectiveness into the way in which you respond? Because let's face it, you're not going to get rid of all the crap that's thrown at you in life. The key is to figure out how you can respond more skillfully. And one answer is mindfulness. How many of us know what mindfulness is? Fantastic. How many of us are practicing on a daily basis mindfulness? Yeah, this is great. Why are you guys here? You could have come to any other talk. No, I'm just kidding. Mindfulness is a lot of definitions. It's simply being aware, being present. And perhaps the most important piece where mindfulness plays into productivity is it allows us a little space to choose how we respond. So external things happen. If we're not mindful, if we're not present, we react. But that little bit of space allows us an ability to choose more effectively how we want to spend this time, how we want to respond to this email, how we want to respond to something that a client just told us. And that's very, very crucial. Both of these slides and the ones that are coming have P at the top for practice, because these are practical things that you can take away. attention training. Attention training can otherwise be known as meditation, mindfulness meditation. The mind is very much a muscle which you can train. We all know how important it is to train our bodies. We eat well, we try to, we sleep well, but many of us are forgetting that the mind can also be trained. You become more skillful at using your mind. So we're just gonna try this just for a minute. Don't have to close your eyes, nothing like that, but just, again, take a couple breaths. And just see if you can rest the mind on the breath. Ask yourself, how is it that I notice I'm breathing? Where can I feel my breath? And when a thought comes, when an emotion comes, you just notice that, come back to breathing. All right, welcome back. 30 seconds, a little taste of what attention training is. People think meditation, I have to stop thinking. It's wrong. Meditation is actually best done when you're thinking a lot, because every time you realize you're lost in thought, you practice coming back to the object of the breath, in this case, and you're building the muscle of attention. As you build that over time, you also build meta attention. You become more aware of when you're distracted. And that can be a really important ingredient in concentration, which we're going to talk about with Jedi focus. And there's two ways to cultivate mindfulness. Simply, we sat down here, we took a few breaths. You can do that anytime, any place. You don't have to close your eyes, in the moment, anytime, anywhere. Something bad happens, just stop, notice, and choose how to respond. Or you practice at the gym. We all know this. That's that dedicated practice, sat down with your favorite app, or trying something like walking meditation. Mastering the mind, very important if you want to achieve Jedi focus. Of course, what is Jedi focus without Baby Yoda? So damn cute. Let's just hold on to that for a second. But why focus? 69% of workers have difficulty focusing on one thing at a time. How many of us is that true for? I mean, just think about this talk. It's 20 minutes. I mean, how many times, if I was in the audience too, I'd be picking up my phone, looking at Twitter. That's the natural state of where we go. And during the day, when you're sat at work on your computer, Slack messages, emails, people texting, calling, your colleague coming and wanting to talk to you. This is intense. Why is it so bad? Because it takes 25% more time to finish a task when you're multitasking as opposed to single tasking. In fact, Harvard's done research to show that it takes almost 15 minutes to come back to the original task after you've been interrupted. So you sit down, you start working on something, and your colleague goes, can I ask you a question? You go, yeah, sure. And then you come back to the work. It feels like not that much. It feels like you come back, but when you actually test this, it's very, very ineffective. So achieving Jedi focus is tough. We all know, okay, let's get off autopilot. Let's be a bit more mindful and present. Easy. How can we actually move to this world of focus work? A practice that I use, it's an incredibly simple but effective tool. It's called One Big Thing. My friends Jake Knapp and John Zaraski, they wrote a wonderful book called Make Time. They talk a lot about this. It's quite simple. It's one big thing. It's every day, pick the most important piece of work that you need to get done and make that the first thing that you do the following day. Make that task about 60 minutes at least, so you can kind of get into the zone. Anything less than that, it doesn't quite feel as significant, but no more than about 90 minutes or 2 hours. The reason being, after that amount of time, attention and energy starts to wane. Many people I know work quite haphazardly during the day. and they think, I'm gonna make time eventually to do this important thing, and it never gets done. It might not even be at work. It might be that you wanna become a writer. It might be that you wanna learn another language, and you keep thinking, when am I gonna make time for that? Use this technique, simply one big thing every day. And of course you're gonna do other things, but this is so simple, because once you've done that one big thing, you build this momentum throughout the day. You have a sense of achievement. You've actually sat down and done something that took some real time. It can make a huge difference. Single tasking. Harder than it sounds. But if you want to achieve focus, practice this. Practice doing nothing else. Exit all those Chrome tabs. Put your phone away and just do one task and then the next task and then the next task. It will be hard at first, I know that. But as you improve over time, 1% every day, you'll start to get into the zone when you can sit down for 90 minutes and nothing will grab your attention. Over time, single tasking will make you, and this all sounds so easy, I know. It's common knowledge, but it's just not common practice. So I'm here to remind you. Do not disturb mode. Can you, everyone take out your phone just for 1 second? Please, sorry, should have my manners. Can you check on your phone that you have airplane mode? Just make sure that feature, is that on your phone? Felipe, you have airplane mode? Yeah. So we all have this wonderful feature on our phones. You can put it on Do Not Disturb or airplane mode. This can be so effective to achieving Jedi focus. Phones can be kryptonite for many of us, and I see people all the time sitting down to work, phone right next to them. Buzzing, buzzing, buzzing. Don't rely on willpower. Use friction. Create ways in which you can make it easier for you to make good decisions. So if it's really important for you to spend time with your family, consider using a tool like airplane mode to put that phone away to minimize distraction and achieve focus on the one big thing that matters to you that day, which can very well be your family. Energize and restore like a pro. Awesome. Can everyone please just stand up for 1 second? All right, just take a couple shoulder rolls. Maybe just make some noises so I'm not the only one up here going, Yeah, then kind of roll the neck up and back. If you're wearing a microphone, try not to break it. And then just kind of shake a little bit. All right, sit back down, please. Everyone in the back standing up is like, I should have been like, sit down. You guys, I'm sorry for that. So simple. You can notice that. Like I see people, you smiling, like you already feel a bit more energetic. It's so simple. 20 seconds, moving the body, breathing a little bit. It can make an enormous difference when it comes to your energy. And here's the facts about energy. Time is finite. We all know that. There's 24 hours in a day. Second, energy is renewable. Are we all aware of that? Are we all aware that our personal energy, it doesn't just run out of gas? We can spend time to replenish and restore our energy. Productivity craters after just 50 hours. There's not that much time in a day that you really can work with your peak focus. So the question is, limited time, but I have this thing called energy. How am I gonna make the most of that limited time? The answer, manage your energy. And we've taught this at Google for a very long time that managing your energy can actually change the entire way you think about your workday. Most of us come in, we sit down, we get to work, maybe we take a break unintentionally to go to the bathroom or get coffee or have lunch, and then we come home and we just run through life. Probably sounds familiar. How many of you are taking real breaks during the day? Intentional breaks. Using time, she's like, I'm doing it. What are you doing for breaks? What are you doing? A little stretching? Yeah. So breaks, again, so simple, but what we need to remember is our energy works on a cycle. It's something that's known as the ultradian rhythm. Every about 90 to 120 minutes, our body starts sending us signals you're running out of energy, you're running out of energy. You might start yawning, you get distracted, you check social media, you just you're checking your email while you should be writing a document, whatever it is. When you notice those signs, your body's just asking, hey, can we rest for a little bit? Can we do something else? Think about what gives you energy. Sit down and write a list. It might be that talking to a colleague gives you energy and you love a coffee break to chat. It might be the exact opposite, going outside for 5 minutes. It might be listening to music. So our energy is replenished through different domains. We have physical energy, but we also have emotional energy. We also have mental energy and spiritual energy. So you will figure out over time, what are the breaks that make the most sense for me? How can I just take 10 minutes, shut down your laptop, leave your phone, go do something, come back way more refreshed, way more productive. It will often, if you've been working for hours at a time, be way more effective if you stop what you're doing for 10 minutes, close out your tabs, go stand outside, listen to a song, come back in and resume, than if you just use those 10 minutes to keep on working, because we have this diminishing effect of our focus and our energy. So taking real breaks throughout the day is so important. I often like to say, work hard, rest hard. Ask professional athletes or read about them if you don't know a professional athlete. Rest and recovery is the most important part of a modern athlete's training regimen. It should be the most important part of the modern professional's day-to-day. If you're not actively taking breaks in the right way, you're gonna run out of gas. You gotta pull over every once in a while and fill the car up so you don't hit burnout. This is how you sustain performance over the days and the weeks and the months. Me time, make time, meet time. This is how I organize my day. I begin with about 90 minutes to 2 hours of me time. I block that on my calendar. It's things that I can do that replenish me. Maybe it's some exercise, maybe it's reading a book. Make time is that 2 hours I block for the one big thing. Me time is everything else. That's the one-to-one meetings, email, admin, scheduling things, etc. And I follow that simple formula to make sure that every day I'm making time for what matters. And me time is when I'm energizing. I'm doing those daily practices that lift me up and allow me to keep sustaining my performance over time. Last, make a commitment. If you know you have trouble taking breaks, or you know you have trouble getting to the gym, make a commitment with a friend, schedule that coffee in advance, book a gym class with them, you'll be way more likely to do it. I'm out of time. This is the practice overview. We went through Mastermind, Jedi Focus, Energize, and Restore. All simple, easy things that you can do to become more effective over time. When you want to build good habits, start small, tied to an existing habit are the two biggest things. 2 minutes a day, get going with that meditation habit, and forgive yourself. If you miss a day, it's okay. We're so hard on ourselves. It's all about getting back into the swing. So February is what, tomorrow or the day after? 80% of us will have given up on our New Year's resolutions. Start again. Who cares what happened in January? Just begin again, and that's how you build good habits over time. The struggle is great, the task divine. To gain mastery, freedom, happiness, and tranquility. The Stoics knew it 2,000 years ago. We're all on that journey. I think we all showed up here today to think about, how can I master myself? How can I be a better human? How can I be more productive and effective? And I hope we shifted some ideas in your head about what being productive really means to be a top performer. And I think we have about a minute or so for questions. I think they're on slide 2. So how do we get them? Thank you.
Let's give Connor a warm applause. I think your speech or talk was so captivating that we don't have any questions. But I have a question myself.
Yes.
You talk about all these things, but me being a startup founder, I like to have these digital tools, these applications, and whatnot to help me with all of these things. So, is there like this one app that you have found super good to help you with something concerning this in the, let's say, past month or two or something like this?
I hesitate to recommend one piece of technology because everyone wants the secret quick fix. I don't have that. But if you're using a calendar, schedule in these types. It doesn't matter what, use a Google Calendar is probably the best, but no, I'm just kidding. Just schedule these types of things in. make time for restore and renewal, put these practices into your calendar. That's going to be the most effective. And download a meditation app. There's plenty out there. They're all good. And that's it. I should say, if you want to get in touch with me, ConnorSwenson.com. I'll be around here for the next couple of days. It's been a real pleasure, and I hope you found something useful. Thank you for your attention and for listening.
Connor, thank you very much. All right. So, yeah, just to remind